Hi, Dr. Dan Miller, Historical Solutions, LLC. Welcome to a special edition of Pro Football in America 250, the Divisional Playoff Weekend. We just wrapped up 4 pretty amazing games yet again in the playoffs, the postseason, post-regular season, I should say, of the National Football League. And boy, it's been great. I'm sure going to miss it when we wrap up in a couple of weeks. I don't want to talk about that right now. We're sitting at Southport High School in Indianapolis, Indiana, waiting for our youngest daughter to come out. I thought I'd use this time to interact with you, hang out with you about the weekend and head coach George Washington and his Continental football team and how they might shed a little bit of light on what went on. I'll tell you what, I've got 2 words, 4 playoff games, and there's 2 words, shock and shocking. We've got shock and shocking in individual effort. See Caleb Williams. We've got shock and shocking in unit effort. See the Seattle defense. We've got shock and shocking in individual fate. Hello, Bo Nix. And we've got shock and shocking in crowd atmosphere in Chicago and Seattle and Foxborough and so forth. It was amazing, almost college level in the intensity of it all. And finally, we've got shock and shocking in organizational decisions made after the game itself. Hello, Buffalo Bills, and the decision to fire their head coach. So how do you deal with the shock? How do you deal with the shocking? How do you handle it as a leader? You owners, coaches, players, and fans, how do you absorb and get going on the other side of the shock and shocking? Let's look at head coach George Washington because he knows all about it. He saw the shock and the shocking recently in a plan that everybody said was vital for the success of the colonial cause of the Continental team's efforts, and that plan, that operation was the invasion of Canada. Well, that fell through. That was a shock. He saw shock and shocking in a man that everybody said was to be trusted and respected and leaned upon in a position of high leadership. He turns out that he's a traitor. No, not Benedict Arnold. That's a few years down the road. Our first traitor of major proportions is Dr. Benjamin Church. That's a shock, and that's shocking to Washington. It's the same shock and shocking in what was supposed to be regarded as a public ready to turn out as recruits in the new Continental Army that Washington, the new Continental team Washington's trying to assemble. He's below 50% turnout. He's below 50% targets of the personnel that he's looking for. That's a shock, and that's shocking. And then finally, I think this qualifies. He's facing an opponent. Yes, an opponent, enemy, okay, the British. But the assumption was we're kind of cut from the same cloth in terms of civilization, and we can rely on each other, even as opponents. We can rely on each other to conduct ourselves in a way that reflects upon that, reflects positively upon that. Well, the opposite's been true. Towns have been burned, prisoners have been abused, mistreated, and one of the colonial governors is trying to launch a race and labor war, among other things, and that's been a shock. That's been shocking. So how has Washington, head coach George Washington, dealt with all of that? This is where we get into something that might be helpful for all of us, owners, coaches, players, and fans, and our leadership. What's he do? I got 3 things here, and then I'll get out of your way. Number 1, he sees a light. He sees a light for the first time. And the light, it's not like a beaming kind of light. It's not a lighthouse kind of light, but it's clear. And the light is the cause. Capital C, cause. That cause is self-government. And he's beginning to see for the first time, maybe we could do this. It's not just protest. It's not just resistance. It's not just the redress of a handful of grievances. Maybe we could do something that, in the way we're thinking about it, the world's never seen before. Govern ourselves. That's the cause. And it's just sparked in front of him enough. And he sees it and he thinks, that's the cause for which I'm fighting. Bigger than me, bigger than us. That's our cause. So this is one way that he copes with the shock and the shocking, by keeping hold of the cause. Second, he makes an effort. He does more than make an effort. He does everything he can humanly do to go beyond himself as a human. So it's not just him trying his best. You know, I'll be doing a podcast about Indiana University football and Coach Cignetti and so forth in another moment. But, you know, all those coaches at IU wanted to win. It's Cignetti that's done it. He's gone beyond the effort, ordinary effort, to make it happen. This is what Washington's doing. There's no detail too small. There's no subject that's too insignificant for him to tackle as he tries to turn this thing around. It's superhuman effort that he undertakes. And he sets that standard for himself. Superhuman. Third and finally, he knows that it is also more than himself. Even in his superhuman attempts, it's more than himself. He needs his core team. He needs his soldiers, his players. He needs the ownership in the front office in Philadelphia. He needs the community ownership up and down the coast. He needs the French. He needs the Navy. He needs everything. He needs what he calls providence. He means God. He needs outside of himself if he's going to have success. So those are our three things. The cause, a superhuman effort on his part, and then finally, outside of himself, he accepts the role of many, many other people's parts too. I'm Dr. Dan Miller. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's the divisional round of playoffs that we just concluded. We're headed straight toward the conference championships. I hope you have a great week, and we will talk very, very soon.